Yeah, it was a big weekend here in Boone as we celebrated 28 seniors who played here at the Rock for the last time with a record of 49-15. And very proud of our team bouncing back after two tough road games there at the end. And got a good win versus Old Dominion. And we turned our attention to Georgia Southern. It's a exciting game to play in. Been a part of as a player, now as a assistant coach, now the head coach. It's one of the best games all year long. So we look forward to going to Statesboro for a great game.
All right, let's go over to Hunter Dawkins. Hunter, please go ahead.
Coach, good morning and congratulations last week just to become bowl eligible. What does this mean to you in the program? How are you guys going to build this through recruiting efforts, and especially with the new conference and going into as many games as you guys had who were on broadcast big time?
Well, we have to win one more game to be bowl eligible.
Okay.
We had to play two FCS teams there, but anytime you win is good in college football, especially in our conference in the Eastern side. From top to bottom, it's one of the best group of five conferences in the country. So we're going to build our roster on high school recruits, and if we have to go to the transfer portal or get a grad transfer, we will. But we want to make sure we develop our players here, and we want to be heavily in the high school recruiting ranks.
All right, we'll go over to Sam. Sam, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, can you talk a little bit about the rivalry? You mentioned it in kind of your opening statement, but what is this rivalry between App State and Georgia Southern? Obviously a pretty consistently contested matchup, and now obviously a big East Division game with, like you said, bowl eligibility on the line for both teams.
Well, the one thing you can do is you can throw the records out the window because it doesn't matter. Again, they have a very good football team. Coach Helton's done a fantastic job. They've changed philosophy in their ways from last year. They're going to throw the ball quite a bit, but it's a game you look forward to. It's a great rivalry. It's the Georgia-Florida, it's the Auburn-Alabama, and it's gone for a long time. And if you can go back to the Southern Conference days, now the Sun Belt, and it's one of the best games all year long. And it's going to be not a heated rivalry, but our players know each other, our coaches know each other, and it's a fun game to play in.
And then what does it mean for App State, or what would it mean for you guys to get back to a bowl game this season? I believe you guys have been to a bowl game every year that you've been eligible since joining the FBS. What would it mean to get this win in the last week and go to bowl season again?
Anytime you go to postseason play, that's always a positive for your program. You have a chance to get some younger guys 15 more practice opportunities to build for the spring. So it would be big for our program. I know our kids are looking forward to it. They know what's at stake. So both teams win. If whoever wins gets a chance to go to a bowl game. So probably shouldn't happen any other way in this rivalry game versus Georgia Southern and App State.
We'll go over to Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach. Apologies if I asked something you've already said. Computer moron here. How big was it to get those two quick back-to-back scores that you had that sort of gave you a little bit of a breathing room?
It was big. Old Dominion has a high-powered offense, and they've had some injuries along the way with their tight end, their number one receiver. But anytime you can get a lead and to be able to run the ball more than you would like, to win a football game. But that's always big, especially get a chance to score first. And our defense played well all day long, except 2 third down plays, and our offense did enough to win. Again, we have to get some things corrected. The ball's in jeopardy too much. The ball's been on the ground. We got all of them back, but it was on the ground way too much. But overall, I thought we ran the ball close to 500 yards, 202 yards, I believe, rushing, and 298 passing. So it was a good day. The weather was cold, so it was a little harder to throw the ball at times. But I thought our kids come out and really gave us all a great effort in this win.
11 games in now. Can you sort of assess what Chase Bryce has meant to your team this year?
He's been everything. Chase is a natural leader for us. He transferred in here from Duke, and he just fit in this first year. And this last year, his senior year, he's really taken more of a leadership role. He's taking what the defense gives to him. He's not trying to force throws, but just an unbelievable human being. He's a better person as a football player, and he's an outstanding football player.
And if I could ask one more, you mentioned the cold weather. You still had a crowd past your capacity. What does that say for the fans there?
Very passionate fan base. This is the second year in a row we've set an attendance record here at App State for our football program, and that's big in recruiting. And a lot of thanks goes to Doug Gillen and his staff to go out and sell the season tickets. And I think when we have a winning program that people want to be a part of it, and it's great. And we had several kids on campus this weekend. It was a great atmosphere, and so that part's always good.
Yes, obviously we're looking forward to the game this week. We know we got a very talented opponent that's playing, obviously, for a lot their senior day there, and we know that they're hard to beat there. They've got great players in all three phases, and our players know the importance of it. Obviously, it's important for us as we're trying to clinch home field advantage here in the Sun Belt Championship game, and we know to do that we need to win the game. So big challenge for us, but also another great opportunity to showcase Sun Belt football.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. We'll go over to Noah. Noah, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. When you look at this JMU team, what sticks out to you the most, kind of this late in the year?
Well, I think in key places they've got a lot of experience. If you look in the positions that you want to have an experience on, they have it. They're playing well. That their program has a culture and expectation to win. Nothing rattles them. You can tell that, and they've got good players at all three levels. If you look at defensively, D-line, linebackers, and secondary, they're good players. And the same thing, their offensive line up front is arguably the best O-line that we've seen this year. They're the most consistent. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Their quarterback plays at a high level, and they've got good skill. So got an older team in a lot of areas, and they're very smart with where they hit the portal and the guys that they brought in to help that. And they're really, really good, and they're top two, top three, and everything in our league from an offense and defensive standpoint. So tells you the type of players they have.
Thank you.
Let's go over to Hunter Dawkins. Hunter.
Coach, the big question for you guys this week is how do you not get to be complacent? As you said, this was James Madison's final game of the year, and of course they're having their seniors, and your guys, how are they not looking past this game to the championship game in the Sun Belt, and what way can you use to motivate them?
Well, one, anytime you play, the opportunities to play are very rare. We don't get many opportunities, so you hope that when we get the opportunity, we're ready to play. No matter what, we've already clinched. We got an opportunity to secure, home field advantage, which is a lot. And I know they're playing for a lot. Obviously, this is their bowl game all wrapped up in one, since they don't get to go this year. So I know they're going to be, Coach will have them ready to go. But for us, we need the win so we can secure home field advantage. And if our players aren't motivated to play that, to do that, then I'll probably do a piss poor job this week to get them ready to go, because it's a big deal. But also, you get an opportunity to go play, and you get the opportunity to go win a game. And we want to do that. We still have an outside shot. If we can win our next two games, we have an outside shot of being the G5 representative. That's there. And so, we have a lot to play for, just like they do. And we want to go try to put ourselves in position to get that done. So our guys and will be ready to go. Now, we might be ready to go and they still beat us, because I know they're a good team, but our guys will be ready to go.
All right, we'll jump over to Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
I know you would have much rather played last week if you had your druthers, and obviously that wasn't going to happen. Is there a possible benefit to having that extra week at this time of year, with a lot of players maybe getting that extra week of recovery heading into these last two games that are so key for you?
Well, I think I'm sure some of our guys that needed some rest, definitely going to help. When you don't play a game, guys that would have played a lot of snaps, got some rest, that saves your body, no doubt. Or not having our quarterback, the guy that needed a lot of reps was our quarterback. And so a guy like him, it probably hurt, because he needs as many reps as he can, Jarrett Guest, because he doesn't have many. From a standpoint of guys that it helped, it probably hurt him just from a rep standpoint. But at this point, everybody's probably banged up a lot. But so that I do think that could help us as far as just guys trying to recover, or guys that were banged up that might not have played last week, maybe they got an opportunity to play this week. And we have a lot of sickness that's going through our team right now for whatever reason. And so there was probably going to be some guys that didn't play last week. If that game was played, maybe we'll get them back this week.
How do you assess Jared's progress over the last couple of weeks?
I thought he did a fine job in our game. I think he has good command of our offense. He just needs more opportunities. There's some good things that he did, some things he can learn from. We obviously have belief in him and Bryce to do a good job with our offense, but he just needs more opportunities. You know, you see new things each and every week, and you can simulate it in practice, but until you really see it in that game and how you respond, you don't know. And so, but for everything that we've asked him to try to do and be prepared, he's done that, and the team has a lot of confidence in him.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Time for one more from Chris Parks. Chris, please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Jamey. Can you kind of give an update on Grayson, just kind of how he's doing? And then also just kind of take me through the challenge your defense is going to have against this great JMU offense.
Grayson, nothing's changed from that standpoint. I guess we're 2 weeks in as of Saturday from his rehab, and he's rehabbing. He is out of a boot finally, which is good, but he's not had the opportunity to step on the practice field or anything like that. And so, I don't know if the 3 weeks is optimistic. It was 3 to 6 weeks. I don't know if the 3 weeks is optimistic or not. We'll see as we get closer if it's 4 or 5 or 6. Really, this week will be a big determination of if he has an opportunity to play in the championship game or not. This is the biggest challenge that we have faced from a defensive standpoint because they're well balanced. They can run the football. The quarterback can make plays with his feet. He can keep it on the zone read. He can make plays down the field. And so from a overall standpoint, our biggest challenge that we face, and we're going to have to do a great job of trying to win the line of scrimmage. They do a great job of winning the line of scrimmage up front. They're physical, and we have to be physical as well, match that. And if not, if we don't do that, if they're able to run the ball the way they're capable of, then that opens up a lot of different things for them. And so we got to do a good job of winning the battle up front.
Yeah, great win on Saturday. A game we got ourselves down by 20 points at halftime. It was really a game unlike any other I've been a part of, where Georgia State scored. We went from a 7-0 lead to a 27-7 deficit in about 7 minutes. 2 fumble returns for touchdowns, a muffed kickoff on our own 4, which the defense did a great job holding them to a field goal. Got up to a 2-score game right before the half, and then hit a 75-yard run on a fly sweep. Well, actually counted as a pass, but it was a run. So we're 20 down at halftime, but regrouped and kept our poise and had a great third quarter, outgained them 172-5 and scored 28 straight points. Defense was phenomenal, in the second half up until the last drive. And the offense still didn't execute consistently, but made big plays. And we had a chance to ice the game there, have a great play called, and have a bad snap and give them the opportunity to get back in it. So we held them on a 2-point conversion, got the onside kick. We're able to ice the clock. And so it was a great win.
All right. Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, just jump in reaction, raise your hand. Be happy to call on you. I'll start off with Hunter Dawkins. Hunter, please go ahead.
Coach, what does this game this week mean to your seniors, seeing that you've gone from the FCS to the FBS and how you're playing against what's going to be the East Division champion this year of the Sun Belt?
Well, I think it means a lot regardless of what level we're playing at, because it's our last game. And, our guys that have been in a program a long time are used to competing deep into the playoffs for national championships, semifinals. So they're excited about this game, against a great team, Coastal Carolina. I think to go out and play a game like this as your last game is very significant. And I think one of our challenges, we got to keep the main thing, because and don't get caught up in the emotions of it being the last game or, the sentimental part of it. Coastal's a great football team. There's a reason they're 31-4 over the last 3 years. They do a great coaching job. Coach Chadwell does a great job of leading that program. You know, he took that thing over when they were struggling, and they, you know, they've recruited, they've developed. But you don't win games like that unless you got really good players and a lot of talent and a commitment from the top. And they, you know, they find ways to win. And the team they have this year is very impressive to me. We all know about the offensive design and structure and the conflict that offense can put you in with a lot of good players, you know, at running back and receiver and at all positions. And you know, defensive front's very impressive, and they're a handful. But you know, our seniors and our whole team, they'll be excited to play Saturday, and we're gonna have to have a great week of preparation.
Go over to David Teal. David.
Curt, NCAA rules notwithstanding, do you feel like you're playing for an East Division championship on Saturday? And were you to win, would you buy rings and raise a banner?
This team has done very significant things this year. Will always be a special team in JMU history. To the people that follow our program, support our program closely. We're, you know, regardless of the outcome Saturday, you know, our players will get nice rings. Our seniors will get nice stuff, you know, their jerseys, framed helmets, and other things like that. You know, we're gonna take care of these guys. We want them to remember this season and feel really good about it, regardless of the outcome of the game.
Thank you, David. We'll go over to Maddie. Maddie, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Great, you?
I'm doing good. So I'm curious, in the last few years, you know, it's always felt like there wasn't this finite end. And this is the first time that this team, at least in recent years, while you've been head coach, that there's been a very finite end to when this season, you know, is done. Have you kind of felt that difference at all?
You know, I have in the last couple of days. Like, for instance, you know, we're having a blackout on Saturday. And, you know, we've always had a blackout for our last home game. But our guys have always had more games coming up deep into the playoffs. So, you know, that came up today about, are you wearing black or are you going to wear purple? You know what I mean? For their last home game. But you know, it looks like it's the last game. You never know what might happen. But you know, once again, I think keeping the main thing is really going to be important this week, because, you know, our total focus is on our preparation to give ourselves, you know, the best chance against a great football team.
And I had one other question for you. So talk a little bit about Todd's journey to this point, and, you know, at this point, how he's really developed as a player throughout his time at JMU leading into this last game against Coastal.
Yeah, I really feel great about him and what he's done here, and happy for him. You know, we're his third school, but he's also a guy that as a 9th and 10th grader was a starting quarterback at a major program in South Florida and played in big games. Just didn't happen for him at Temple the way he wanted it to. He was a starter at Colorado State, but he was under center a lot, and you know, the pass game was pretty simple. So, you know, it took him a spring and part of fall camp to kind of get comfortable with what we're doing, and he's flourished with his arm and his legs. I can't imagine there's been a better player in the conference in terms of productivity and what he means to his team, and being such a deciding factor in winning and losing as he's been this year. And the thing about it is the way he handles it, he's just so humble and grateful. He's such a beautiful person that I wish we had 4 more years, but we don't. And he really well respected by his teammates.
Thanks, Coach.
David, you have a follow-up?
I did, Curt. I was struck by your comment, you never know, about maybe another game. Are you you know, if enough teams don't get bowl eligible, are you holding out for common sense to prevail here?
No, my focus is strictly on this football game. Everything certain in life is death and taxes. So other than that, there's a possibility of anything.
Just kind of looking back to Saturday, a great win for our program and our team, and just, you know, like kind of overlooking just where we're at. We're not playing for bowl eligibility, and just really proud of how these kids just show up every single day and they continue to fight. You know, that's something about like the culture that we're creating here at Texas State, and just talking about, you know, all the unfortunate ups and downs we've had with the ball not bouncing our way and these unfortunate injuries that have occurred. And there's a lot of guys that played in their first college football game this Saturday and really rose to the occasion, and they showed up and they competed and they fought, and they played for the people in this room and the future of our program. And was really proud of how they came out with this victory on Saturday. And, you know, you're going into our last game of the season, a senior night versus Louisiana, which is going to be a great game as well. And our kids are looking forward to it. But, you know, I just am, again, just really proud of how these guys keep showing up on a daily basis and continue to fight. I think our defense is playing at a very high level right now. You look at just kind of all the things that they've done throughout the course of this year. I think that, you know, we're playing for a lot in terms of a lot of records that could potentially be broken, you know, this weekend. And it just shows that we're doing a lot of good things in terms of, you know, getting better every single year. And I know that it's kind of been a disappointing season for our guys because we wanted to go to a bowl game, but they still got that fire. They still got that fight. And, you know, I'm expecting them to bring it again on Saturday one last time, you know, for the future of our program and for the seniors in our program as well. So looking for this weekend, and, you know, it's going to be a great atmosphere for us as well. So questions.
Thank you, Coach. Our first question is coming from Dan McDonald. Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
The way some of your games have gone this year, and then Arkansas State gets the field goal in the last 30 seconds. I mean, were there some thoughts that well, you know, here we go again?
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like it just felt like every single game that we've been a part of this year. You know, they go down and they hit that 4th and 5, or if it was 4th and long, they hit it and they get down in field goal range. And I thought our defense, you know, at least elevated their play. They got them to kick a field goal, you know, and you're sitting there playing the game of, you got 2 timeouts. Do you freeze the kicker on these 2 timeouts? So we saved 1 timeout, which ended up being a great thing for us. But man, you look at like just the fashion that we've lost games this year, and then, you know, how finally we were on the other end of it, where we actually got into field goal range and kicked a game winner. But then we kicked the field goal and we still had 2 seconds to go in the game, and our whole entire sidelines was like, all right, we've been in this before. Like, who knows what's going to happen? And finally, when we got the ball carrier down on that last kickoff, it was kind of a relief for everybody that we finally pulled one off in that fashion, which was very exciting for the guys.
Can you talk about Lane Hatcher's performance? I mean, he hit the 3 passes for you, and when you had to have all 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Lane is he's a very tough, competitive kid, and you know, he wasn't very pleased with how he was performing in the first half. He missed a couple throws, but the kid keeps showing up, and that's kind of how we are as a program. We just, you know, play the next play, and you know, and eventually good things are going to happen. And in the fashion that he won that game, he made, you know, 2 really big time throws, you know, these last 2 passes of the game, especially against his former team. You know, I was very excited for him. We didn't make it a big deal that he is playing against his former team all week. And, but, you know, deep down inside, you know, anybody that's going up against a team that you sacrificed a lot for 3 years, it was a great moment for him. And, was really happy for him. And Lincoln Perry was the running back as well that came from Arkansas State. I just thought it was a really cool moment for both those guys.
I was going to ask you about that, and then he gets the roughing the passer call that really sets things up. Did he have it? Did he say anything after that, or was it just, you know, everybody's busy running the field goal unit out?
Yeah, no, it was more. We were trying to figure out what was going on more than anything. You know, because I didn't see that he got hit. Like, I was looking more down the field when Donovan Moore caught that ball and got in the field goal range, and we were more about getting on the ball and clocking it. And then it was kind of just a bizarre ending of, you know, there was a roughing the passer call. Where's the ball going to be set? And everybody was panicking because they thought the ball was going to be, the clock was going to start on the referee's whistle, which, you know, I was like, guys, we can relax a little bit, you know, we can hold off because it'll start on the snap. And it was just pretty chaotic. So never really kind of got to talk about that moment ever. It was more about, hey, what's next, how we manage the clock correctly and make sure that we get our field goal team out there and not end up being like a TCU Baylor game and run the team on and try to do a Mayday field goal at the end.
What do you see about this Louisiana team that could cause your team some issues?
I think they're really good. I think it's the same team that we've been facing the past few years, the same team that got after us really good last year. And they still got the same defensive front. They still got the same defense. You know, I think it's just a new coach and a new transition. and working through some of the new philosophies of a new coordinator on defense and offensively. They've gone through some injuries with their quarterback, and they're still a very solid team, Mike. And that's I think they're going to give us problems across the board, and we've got to play great team football. We got to take care of the football as well. And we got to capitalize on their mistakes because, you see signs of how great they are. They just have gone through some unfortunate ups and downs this year. And I think this is going to be a pretty interesting game because they're playing for bowl eligibility and it's our senior night. So you're going to see two teams trying to give everything they got. So it's going to be a fun game to be a part of.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, exciting week this week in Statesboro. Got the opportunity to play a great rival in Appalachian State. Had the opportunity to compete for bowl eligibility, and it's senior night. So got two teams in Statesboro this week that love to compete against each other, and both of us fighting for bowl eligibility, where the winner gets to move on. And that's what you want in life. You want a chance. And I know our players are very excited about that opportunity, and I would bet that Shawn's group is too. So we look forward to a great Saturday night here in Statesboro. With that, I'll take any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Coach. So we'll start off with Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Is this sort of like the NCAA basketball tournament? Is that you survive in advance?
Well, I tell you, that you always want the opportunity to go to the postseason and do some special things, especially with this group of seniors that a lot of them chose to come back for this year after a 3-win season last year, and now they sit on the precipice of having a chance to go to a bowl game, and they've laid that foundation for us of leadership. I'm really building something that is going to sustain, and we would love to be able to give them a reward. They've had the opportunity to win a Power 5 game, win a top 25 game. Now they have the opportunity to compete against their rival this week and get bowl eligible. That is a great senior year that we'd love to be able to give them. So we're very thankful to our elder group and that group of seniors for what they have done for us this year.
Can you talk quickly about what Kyle Van Treese has meant to your team all year long?
Yeah, I've always thought great quarterbacks give your team hope. Every game you walk into, you have hope. And that's what he does for us. There's not one game that, we don't think we can compete in. Not one game that we don't think we can win. And it's because of him. His veteran leadership and his poise just gives us an opportunity in each and every game. And, he has this quiet demeanor about him, this calmness that as we've suffered some injuries down the stretch here and got a lot of young people on the field, they're calm because how he reacts and how he pumps them up. And then he's productive. He makes plays, so we would not have this opportunity if he wasn't the trigger man and doing what he's doing right now for us. And so we're very thankful that Kyle's here. He's had a great year, a national recognized year, and we look forward to him going to lead us one more time here in Paulson Stadium and hopefully coming out victorious.
Appreciate it, Coach. With all this excitement, please keep Danny Reed under control this week.
That's hard. I'll do my best.
Yeah, we'll go over to Luke Creasy. Luke, please go ahead.
Coach, obviously Marshall's Rasheen Ali made his first appearance of the year. How surprised were you to see him out there, and had you done any preparation for what he brings to the offense?
Yeah, you cut off just there at the beginning. If you could repeat it just one more time.
Yeah, Rasheen Ali for Marshall made his first appearance of the year. How surprised were you to see him, and had you looked at anything to prepare for what he might bring?
No, we had gotten word that there was a possibility that he could be out there. They already had an extremely effective run game all year, so there wasn't going to be any change in that. It's just going to be more. I really commended our defense. If you would have told me going in, hey, we're going to hold Marshall to 23 points, I thought we'd be right in the game, which we were. Had an opportunity to cut that game to a one-score game in the fourth quarter. We're on the 26-yard line, and we end up having a turnover. I thought that was the difference in the game. I thought our defense was kind of bend but don't break, held Marshall to field goals. I don't think you can stop that running game, but we slowed it down a little bit enough to to only put 23 points on the board. I thought at the end of the day, the difference in the game was the 2 turnovers that we had on the plus side of the field, as well as 2 drive stops on third down on the plus side. We really felt like we were going to have to be very third down efficient against the #1 third down efficiency team in the country, and we were going to have to be good in the red zone. And at the end of the day, we weren't.
You mentioned that last turnover. You had a chance to cut it to a 1-score game. The turnover happens with about 11 minutes left. Did you think you were going to get the ball back? And obviously their offense did a great job of controlling the football after that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, our defense, when you look at 83 plays and you look at that running game, they held up for as long as they possibly could, and really gave us an opportunity with that 11 minutes on the 26-yard line, where we've been very, very effective offensively all year. We didn't come through this time, and at that point in time, we put just a little bit too many plays on our defense, and they did a nice job of 4-minute offense and running that clock down.
Luke, we'll go over to Hunter Dawkins. Hunter.
Coach, since I'm using the past history, your past history of being a pretty good, solid recruiter, what are you to use for in this game to help, obviously recruit from the portal, from the high school level, to the bowl eligibility of bringing this team to that level?
Yeah, I think one of the things that recruits can see right now is how effective our newcomers have been, whether it's been freshmen or whether it's been transfers, starting at the quarterback position. If you're a quarterback right now and you're looking at Georgia Southern, you're like, wow, I can go be a nationally ranked quarterback and have the opportunity to really lead a team to a championship. You look at Jeremy Singleton, who, was at Houston, a productive receiver with 23 catches, and comes here and he's lighting the world on fire. You look at some freshmen, I think of Marcus Sanders and Deshaun Davis and Latrell Bullard, and about Pishawn Wembley, who's probably going to end up, being a freshman All-American. So to have the availability to walk into a program and be immediate help with great offensive defensive systems, with coaches that have either played or coached at the NFL or Power 5 level, you got a great opportunity to be developed within systems that can really produce great numbers. And so, we went into year one. We were able to sign 33 kids that really helped us this year. They put us in a position to hopefully get us to postseason. And now I look forward to, signing this class and continue to move forward each and every year.
Yeah, appreciate y'all covering Sunbelt football. Happy Thanksgiving week to everyone. We have a lot to be thankful for here in our program, and we're going to do a good job of making sure our guys recognize how fortunate we are in so many areas. But good to get a win last week. Excited about the pursuit of getting another one this week. Got to go on the road to Jonesboro. Not going to be an easy trip. Not going to be an easy game. Got a lot of things to get ready for. Think they're doing a good job of just improving and trying to highlight their strengths, and we've got to be on point and ready to play the right kind of football to come out with a win. So with that, we'll open it up.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach. How big was the scoop and score that you got at that point?
Yeah, it was big. We'd kicked 2 field goals. We were up 6-0. Really could have missed an opportunity for sure on one of those 2 drives. We'd kicked a field goal to score a touchdown. So to go up 13-0 there was a really big deal. And then coming back, we had a big punt return to set up our first offensive touchdown. But defensive scores, if you score on defense, it definitely raises your opportunity to win the game. The percentages show that you're going to have a really high success rate of winning games if you score on defense. And was good to see our guys get that one in. Almost had a chance at another one. There was one that was a lateral that was close. It was bang, bang. And if we could have gotten that one, that would have been 2, which would have been awesome. But really good to score on defense.
What's been the key to your defense this year as far as the way they've improved as the year went along?
Yeah, I think guys, early in the year, I'll be quite honest with you, Dan, we were probably doing a little bit too much schematically on defense. As coaches, we all know more than we can teach. and no more than the players can maybe digest. We've really, last week we ran on first and second down 4 calls, and played very simple, clean football, and didn't do a whole lot. We've got good players. I mean, I try not to coach them to mediocrity. They're pretty good already. Try not to screw them up. Let them play fast. Let them tackle the guy with the ball. Play with good vision. Don't give up cheap big plays down the field in the pass game, and make people earn it. Usually, pretty good formula. But our guys, we've got good players on that side of the ball, which makes it a lot easier.
If I could ask one more thing real quick, I haven't even looked at the times at what time Coastal Carolina's game is, what time South Alabama's game is. Is it hard to not sort of try to sneak a look and see, how those guys are doing, since so much rides on what happens as far as your team goes?
Yeah, the nice thing is we're in control of our own destiny of winning the West. We play at 2:00. Doesn't really matter when anybody else plays to me. We play at 2:00 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. If we win that game, we can have an opportunity to do something special. If we don't, then we're going to be relying on other people. We'd love to host, but I got no control over all that stuff. I mean, I want to get to the championship game, and the only way to do that is take care of the target that's right in front of you, not worrying about the one that's down the road. And we got one opportunity this week. If we don't take care of it, we're going to be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda, and don't want to have that feeling. Don't want to live in regret.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Dan.
And Hunter, I see your hands up. You have something?
Yes, sir. Coach, as I know that you have been a week by week person, is this a motivating factor because this now is the week you need to give the kids the whole idea? This is the West Division. This is where we control our own destiny. This is we've been working for all year.
Yeah, it's a one game playoff for us to get into the conference championship, and we win, we're in, which is where you want to be this time of year. We kind of approach every week that way, though. I don't get too high or too low. I don't get too far out in front of where we are. I mean, I just want to have a good Monday. And we get to Saturday, I want to have a good Saturday.
Yeah, sorry about that. I guess John must not have had much to say today, huh?
He started off early, so it's all good.
Oh, he started early. I got you. All right. Yeah, just kind of, trying to rebound this week, after a tough one at Florida State. Certainly they were a really good football team. We knew that going into it. But the reality of it is that we got to bounce back. We got to get ready for a Texas State team that has played really good the back half of this year. Every game that they've played, they've either won or they've been winning at some point in the fourth quarter. And, they've got good players on defense. They've got a good offense. I think Coach Spavital has done a great job over there offensively, getting them in good stuff and a good game plan. So, we got our hands full if we're going to go try to get to win number 6 and try to get bowl eligible. And, that's our goal this week. So we got to have a great week of practice preparation. And certainly we got to go play well on Saturday. So we know we got our hands full this week, but we've definitely got a lot to play for.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach. Your guys sort of jumped on Texas State defensively last year. What is Texas State doing this year that's improved over last year? What's the thing that kind of stands out with them?
Well, I don't know if you remember the game last year, we didn't start very fast on offense. We ended up scoring some points, but the first quarter we really didn't play very well. The second quarter, we kind of got some points there at the very end. I think this year they've got more depth this year on defense. Their front is way more active this year. They're moving around a whole lot more. They've continued to add to their roster. They've got, better pieces. Their kids play really, really hard on defense. They're playing with a lot of confidence. No one's running the ball really, really well against them. It's because up front, they're good. They've got a good front. They mix up, odd 4-down bear fronts. They play a lot of different fronts, a lot of different coverages on the back end. So, we got to try to find the best things that we can to give ourselves, runs that we have the answers to, just because they're not going to be static. They're going to move. They're going to be in different spots, all the time. I think that's the big thing on defense. They're a lot more aggressive this year. You know, they're pressuring from a lot of different places. And they're not just rolling the dice. I mean, they're calculated. They do a good job with their blitz pass. They fit it really well. So I think defensively they've kind of almost maybe changed their I guess their MO a little bit. They've kind of turned into a little bit more of an attacking defense, where for a while they kind of sat and they played coverage and played fronts and played gaps, and now they're attacking it a little bit. And if you see it on tape, I mean, you know, people have a hard time running the ball against them because of that.
You talked about their defense. Can you assess Chandler Field's performance in that game, having to step in, and now what's his challenge this week?
Yeah, you know, I thought Chandler settled in the second half and played well in the second half. I think in the first half, you know, which naturally, you know, it was going a little fast for him. You know, it's his first start in a while. You know, I mean, he was anxious to get out there and go play. But in the second half, I thought he did a really good job for us. You know, really the whole game, he did a good job in the RPO game, understanding when the box was too heavy to run it and putting the ball out where it needed to go. In the first half, he just, you know, like I said, he's a little excited, overthrew some, didn't give us a chance to make a play on a couple of them. But as the game went on, he settled in and put the ball in a good spot, and, you know, gave us an opportunity to win some jump balls, some one-on-ones, and things like that. You know, for us this week, he's going to have to operate well. Like I said, these guys do a lot of different stuff on defense. So they play a ton of different coverages. He's going to have to do a great job preparing this week. And then we get out there, he's going to have to see and recognize the coverages, where the soft spots are, do a good job with the progressions. You know, some weeks you feel like you can kind of scheme things and scheme the number one open. But with as many different coverages as they're going to play and droppers and having people in different places, you're going to have full progressions, and the quarterback's got to play well, you know, progressing through the whole thing, start in the right spot, have the right progression, and, you know, hang in the pocket and be patient to go all the way through it if you need to.
Is this sort of like the NCAA basketball tournament for you, survive and advance this week?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, that's what I told our team yesterday. This is high school playoffs, man. You know, you got to win to get in, and that's all that really matters right now. So, you know, I mean, everybody likes to talk about ugly wins and all that. So none of them matter. It's about winning. And so for us, you got to play a good team football game. You know, you got to play all three phases. You got to play 4 quarters of it. You got to play field position, which is something that this year, when we've had good field position, we've won the field position battle. You know, we've played well in most of those games, even against some of the really good teams we played. When we haven't had good field position and we didn't play, you know, all 3 phases working together in that way, it's a little tougher, you know. Long field to drive, you know, when you got a short field, an 8 to 10 play drives a touchdown. When you got a long field, an 8 to 10 play drives a punt. So, you know, for us, that's one of those things that we're going to have to do. But yeah, I mean, it feels that way 100%. It is that way. It's the playoffs, and, you know, for us to earn another game, we got to go work this week, and we got to find a way to win.
If I could ask one more, if you are fortunate enough to win, along with the prestige of playing in another bowl game, can you talk about the tangible benefits to your team getting the extra weeks of practice, especially with as many young guys as you're now putting on the field?
Yeah, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't really see the value in that. But the reality is that we talked about it as a staff. You know, you can get up to 15 more practices with your team getting ready for a bowl game. That's a whole nother spring practice period. So, especially early on, before you really maybe know who the opponent is, or before you really get into game planning, you get to go back to a little bit of a fall camp, spring practice type of format, where you can go 1s and 2s and 3s, and you can rep a lot of guys, and they get practice running your installs, your plays, doing your things, getting coached, you know, in a way that you can't do during the year when they're on scout team. So, you know, I mean, teams that play in the postseason every year, it is an advantage because you do get those extra practices. And it's something that, you know, obviously it's hard to win college football games, and getting to bowl eligible is something significant. But on top of that, I think staying relevant in college football, right, and being able to continue to play in postseason and being able to continue to have that success, it all builds on top of each other. You know, it's hard to get there if you don't get those extra practices and get those extra weeks. You but once you get there, you get them, and you to try to continue to get to those bowl games. It's incredibly important. And for our team, we got a lot of young guys that we feel really good about. These extra practices would be, more than anything, these extra practices would be huge for the continued development of the team.
Yeah. Coming off another really tough loss, we've played a lot of good opponents this year, and we've taken them to the wire. We played another one this week, man, in South Alabama. They've done a great job there. They're having a great season, and it was a hard fought game. We had a lead early and just battled. It was a real physical game, both sides, two physical teams. They were able to beat us, made more plays than us down the stretch right there. Disappointed that we weren't able to find a way to win. That's a team that beat us really bad last year, 37-7, I think, and we've closed that gap a little bit. We've got to continue to develop and continue to recruit and keep building this program back. And we're 5-6 right here going down the stretch. We've got a really good opponent this week in Louisiana Monroe. They're a lot like us, in Coach Bowden's second year, man. They're a whole lot better than they were last year. They continue to build and get better too. They've played a lot of close games and taken a lot of people to the wire. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us on the road this week to try to get it done. So with that, I'll open it up.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Hunter Dawkins. Hunter.
Coach, good morning. The main thing is for this game, for this bowl eligibility, how is this going to help your recruiting, which I know you've stressed on, and take me into what this means to you for the seniors that have been there?
Yeah, for recruiting, I don't know. All our recruits know that we're building this program back to what it's been in its past. If we can win this week, that'd be a great step more for the development of the young guys on this team. Like Coach Des just said, at UL is, you get extra practices. We've got a lot of young kids. We got 71 kids that are freshmen and sophomores on our team. So we'd really like to develop them. For these seniors, it would be huge because they stuck with this program when this program was not in a good place. They could have left like most people did, and they stuck with it. And we would really like to take another step for them and get them to a bowl game. But we got a tremendous opponent this week, man. That's a lot like us in so many ways. So we're going to have to play really well to do it.
Go over to Garrett. Garrett.
Hey, Coach, just to follow up on that question, what would it mean for you personally, just from where the team was last year to where it is this year, if y'all were able to win this weekend and be bowl eligible?
Yeah, for me, Garrett, I don't really care. For me, it's more about these kids on this team, especially the ones that have been here and stayed, and then our fan base. I love Southern Miss. I love Mississippi. And this place means so much to me in so many ways because it's where I'm from. It's who I am. It's part of my fabric. And so I came here to get this great program back and bring pride to the Pine Belt area and bring pride back to our people. And in year two, from what we inherited, if we could get to a bowl game, that would be a huge, deal for our fans and also for our kids. I feel like these kids really deserve it, and I hope we can get it done. But man, Coach Bowden and them guys are doing a great job, and they're a really good football team. They're dynamic on offense, and man, they've had a season a lot like us. Man, you could make one play or two here or there in a lot of games, and it could be a whole lot different for either one of us.
Over to Shawn. Shawn.
Coach, you and Coach Bowden are two of very few coaches right now who wear a tie to coach in the games. Can you talk about how you got started coaching in a tie and why you've continued it?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Coach Bowden, but I imagine it's both because of our fathers. My dad is the second winningest high school coach in Mississippi history. He wore a tie on the sideline. And I always said that if I ever got a head job, I would do it out of respect for him, but also out of respect for a lot of the all-time greats that did it back in the day. And, it just so happens that Coach Bowden, his father, is one of my all-time heroes. I grew up huge Bobby Bowden fan and believe in everything he stood for and the way he treated people and the way he brought his Christian values to it. And so, but I do it for my father and also for the history of this game.
Go over to Heath. Heath, please go ahead.
Coach, just kind of piggybacking off that a little bit. You just mentioned about your father and also Coach Bowden. Can you talk about maybe what aspects that you believe growing up in a coaching household has brought to you as a coach, and the aspects of dealing with players, and you believe maybe Coach Bowden has had the same thing, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think it allows you to be mature beyond your years. You know, Coach Bowden and I both got head jobs when we were really young. I was a head coach at 30. I remember when he took over at Auburn, I believe in 92. I've always been a big Bowden family fan. We used to go to the Bowden Quarterback Academy every year when it was at Samford all the way to Auburn. And, you know, remember all those years. Coach Bowden and I coached against each other in the D2 ranks for several years. So I just think it allows you to kind of mature beyond your years. We're all a product of our environment to some extent, you know, and I'm certainly been, you know, I guess probably the poster child for the environment I grew up in, because I knew at a young age what I wanted to do. And so, yeah.
Sure. Good afternoon. Pretty bum. I mean, we're just bummed out here at Georgia State today. You know, it's our first time since 2018. We're not bowl eligible and not having an opportunity to go to a bowl. You know, tough defeat last week against James Madison. One of those defeats you really can't put your finger on, where you have a commanding lead there at halftime, and then you come out and the tables turn and get flipped on us and lose by 2 there at the end. Had an opportunity to tie the game with a 2-point conversion and could not get that accomplished. So, you know, we're kind of licking our wounds right here with one conference game to play, a great Marshall football team. So we're trying to prepare and do everything we can on this Thanksgiving week. And we're certainly going to go out there and give it our best shot. We're probably going to be as healthy as we've been in the last few weeks. That was, you know, something that just the mix and matching of players in different positions probably presented problems for us. But I think we should be as healthy as we've been going into this Marshall game. Looking forward to playing up there. It's been a while, you know. In my time at Appalachian State, when I was a player, Marshall was our biggest rival. So I've got a lot of respect for their football program and just what they've done over the years and their football tradition. So looking forward to the trip.
Thank you. We'll start off with Brady. Brady, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
How are you?
I'm all right. Obviously a disappointing Monday coming off not having bowl eligibility. And it's the first time for a lot of people in the program that they won't go to a bowl game. But I guess, did that speak to a different thing to what some of these seniors that might be playing their last game have accomplished here? And just what can you say about them heading into what might be their last game?
You know, I think every senior class that we've had here have set all kinds of different standards. You know, I was just sitting there talking to Malik Sumter out there, and you know, Malik started going on. It's going to be his 53rd consecutive start. Been bowl eligible ever since he's been here, except for our second year in 18. And just a lot of first, you know, for our seniors, the guys that have really laid it on the line for our football program. I got so much respect for them because, you know, at the time when we came in here, it wasn't easy. Georgia State wasn't the easy choice to come play for, and to go through some of these hard times and to see where we've been and what we've built as a football program is certainly a credit to all those guys and all those seniors that's going to be playing their last game. It's really unfortunate that we're not going to be able to take them out to another bowl game with a bowl win. We've had our opportunities. We all understand that, and we didn't get it accomplished. But to those seniors in their last game, you know, I salute those guys. There's going to be some guys right there you'll never forget.
And then kind of on the other side of that, with it being the last game, I don't think anyone could possibly burn their red shirt if they played in this game. Is there an opportunity for some of the younger guys who haven't played as much to get onto the field on Saturday?
I mean, we're going to play the football game to win, so the best players are going to certainly play. Right now, that hasn't even been discussed. We're going to let the guys that have led the way thus far. If they have the ability to go out there and give us the best chance to win, then they're going to see it through. We still got an opportunity to end this season with some momentum, playing a good Marshall squad, and we're going to go up there to play. You know, like I said, when we're healthy, I still feel, you know, sitting here, even though you're 4-7, sitting here, I still feel like we're one of the better teams in the league when we're healthy. And it's a good feeling knowing we're going in with a pretty healthy group. Still some lingering things, but other than Jam, I think everybody's going to be good to go.
Over to Justin Zimmer. Justin.
Hi, Coach. Good afternoon.
Hi, Justin.
Coach, if you look at this Marshall squad, they just got Rasheen Ali back and they got Kalen Laburn back. So how different does your game planning now become? Because now Marshall's got their 2-star running backs for the first time. They have back first time on Saturday. Now they'll have them for the second game in a row against your team on Saturday.
I mean, I don't think it changes all that much. I mean, their ability to run the football is one thing, and our ability to stop the run is another. We've got to do what we do as a scheme wise based off formation and play recognition and what they do, not off the personnel, so to speak. They have tremendous backs. We understand that. We have to wrap up, we have to tackle, and we have to fit to try and stop that run game. But I don't think, it's not like a wide receiver where you're gonna double cover the guy or put somebody over the top of them. I mean, we're certainly probably gonna have another guy down there close to the line of scrimmage. But we'll try to do our best to hold that thing in check.
Go over to Luke. Luke, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, when you look at what Marshall does defensively, what stands out to you on film and that might be allowing him to have a lot of success against teams this year?
Yeah, I think the coverage guys on the back end are really, really good. A lot of man coverage, a lot of man-free coverage. So they have the ability to really pack the box in and play with a little bit more dangerous style of defense, I call it. You got Gilmore over there, the corner position. I know he's a tremendous athlete. I coached his brother, not coached him, but I was on the staff when Stefan was at South Carolina. But I think their secondary really does a nice job, and they play with such great effort. 24 right there in the middle was disruptive on his pass rush games when they single him up over the center. And, I just like watching him play 55. He's a war daddy, watching him come off the edge and do some of the things he does. But they're a well-coached group. They play with a lot of confidence, and we've got to withstand their confidence and try to go out there and continuously do what we do.
Time for one more from Stan. Stan, please go ahead.
Hey, thanks. Shawn, Pat Bartlett's going to get start number 61 on Saturday. That's going to be a record. How did you go to Pennsylvania and get that guy? And what has he meant as far as consistency and everything else to the program?
Yeah, Pat was, when we got our initial staff in here, everybody brought in where they were prior, the different types of recruits they had. And I believe it was Coach Trickett that had a connection with Pat and had kept in touch. So when he came on board, he got him to come visit down here, and we ultimately ended up signing Pat. Pat's an old soul. I call him Mike Ditka. He's got that voice, and just being from up that way, he's a fun guy to be around. I was sitting there, I told him, I said, "Hey man," I said, "can you believe it's your last week playing football here at Georgia State?" Because he's been around here a long time. He said, "Yeah." I said, "What are you going to do next week?" And he said, "I probably drink a lot of beer." I said, I was like, "I probably will be right there with you."
All right. Have a good Thanksgiving, Coach.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, and everyone as well. It's a great week. And, I just told our team out there, I said, here we are in a situation. We're 4-7, a lot of ups and downs during this season. And we certainly aren't happy about where we are, but we're very thankful about where we are. We have so much to be thankful for. We got our families, we got our team, we got this university, we got the administration, and there's a lot of positive things that we have out here. So I don't want us to, I can sit here and doggone be sour and all that kind of stuff, but shoot, we're very thankful here at Georgia State.
Sure. Well, good morning. Gut-wrenching loss. I think the game really was a microcosm of our season. We've lost 3 games by a combined total of 7 points. That doesn't even include the Memphis game where we're up by 3, and it came down to a 4th and 6 play. But at the end of the day, you got to eliminate the things that keep you from winning. We weren't able to do that. We gave up 0 explosive plays on defense, and then in 25 seconds, we gave up 2 explosive plays. Everything in football, it's not 1 out of 11, it's 11 for 11. And that's all 11 individuals doing their job. Too many times we had 8 out of 11, 9 out of 11. But, our kids continue to work. They continue to play hard. I've been really proud of it from that. I think the effort, the connectivity of our team gives us chances and opportunities to win. But the sustained focus, the attention to details is what's getting us in trouble right now. I think everything is how you look at it. As I said, year 1 was really year 0 from where this program was. And we were pretty much non-competitive last year. And then in year 2, which is year 1, we're competitive and these games are coming down, but it's doing the things that you need to do to win football games. I evaluate anything and everything, and, everything is opinion based and all that. But when you fact check everything, all you do is you put the video on and you press play. And when you press play, everything comes to life. There's no opinion. There's no excuses. And, we had 2 great play calls on the goal line. We didn't execute the crack by the receiver on the slider into the flat. And then we didn't execute the hot with the tailback in the flat on 3rd and goal. And when you don't execute in critical moments like that, but really the game didn't really come down to that. It's all the things that you did prior to those. They all kind of build up off of each other. But, very encouraging in terms of our young football team. We're giving us opportunities to win, but we're not there yet. But we'll continue to strive and demand, and excited to get back to work for one more opportunity with one of the premier teams and programs in our conference, which will be a great challenge, but looking forward to one more week.
Thank you, Coach. I'll start off with Luke. Luke, please go ahead.
Hey, Butch, as you stated, one more opportunity this week. And if I know you're not going to lay down this week. There's one more opportunity to get another win for this team. And, I was checking on Troy, and they seem early on in the games, they're struggling to put points on the board early in the games. I imagine that's something you've got to try, that you guys are going to try to take advantage of this week.
Well, Troy's a very, very talented football team, very complete. Those individuals have played a lot of football. Coach Sumrall has done a tremendous job of going in there and instilling a mentality, a style of play. If you look at their special teams, they have very little starters on all 4 phases, which tells you the depth. One of the premier defenses in our league, a very good center, good offensive line. Some of their skill guys are outstanding and dynamic, and I think it's more just style of play. And we know against them, we have to make every possession count. That's going to be absolutely critical. Our toughness and demands on our toughness is going to be on display because, again, there's a reason why they're fighting for a divisional championship. They're a really good football team, and coach has done a great job there.
Next question I have, I know you've been sprinkling in some of these younger guys that you won't burn their red shirts. Could you potentially see some more of those guys this week?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny you bring up. We talked about doing some more youth development, and we're like, no, everyone's playing. So I think everyone has played in a game except one individual. When we traveled to Texas State, we had 47 first or second year players on the trip. And so, again, they're getting youth development by practice every day and playing in games now. And I believe we're up to 44, 45 different starting combinations since the season started. And that's why I've been proud of our players. They continue to work every single day. They play with an effort and a mentality. We're still not there in terms of that standard, but everything is about playing up to a standard and either meeting it or exceeding it. And we have a lot of individuals that are, but we also still have too many blinking lights right now that we have to grow and develop as we continue to move forward.
Yeah, lost a tough one to Troy. They just were better than us that night. We had a chance. We were down 6-0 because they just don't care what the score is first half. They're going to win the second half no matter what, it seems like with them. But we were happy to be there with about 4:50 left in the game. I went for it on about the 40-yard line and missed it. Gave them a short field. Boom, they scored. Next play, they sacked the quarterback. He fumbled it, ran it in. And all of a sudden, from 6-0, we went to 20-0. If you know Troy with their defense, you're probably you're just all you're doing is trying to catch up from that point, because there's not much I don't think you can do against a team like Troy, the way they play defense. That being said, if that had not happened, the way they were playing, they could have beat us 6-0. I think that they were just playing that dominant. We did get our offense going and scored some points at the end, but they were just they read the whole difference to them. They ran the ball better than they've ever run it. We probably were more worried about their passing attack and did not have a good enough plan because they about tripled their normal average for rushing the football. But they didn't have to pass, because after that, once they established that on about the fourth drive, then we couldn't, and then they didn't have to pass. And I think the way they were controlling our offense, we were able to score. They're just a good team. That's the way they've won 10 games in a row. And that's what's made them a great team. Great defense and a very, 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 very functional offense that does about what they need to do to win. So we'll have to regroup. It was a chance for us to get to 5. You know how that is, that you might get 6. But we're awful. I'm awful proud of the way our players have been playing. We're going to fight hard with Southern Miss, a team that's like us. They're just a little better record-wise. And hopefully we can fight for that 5th win, which is 1 game more than last year in our progress of our team. But again, we've got to regroup and go out there and try to have a good home game to finish up with.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Hunter Dawkins. Hunter?
Coach, what
Yes.
does this Saturday game mean to you, bringing back the kids that were seniors and really helping move the program in the right direction?
You know, every game it's obviously the last game. You want your seniors to go out on a good note. You want to come out and win your last home game. You want to go into the off season with that kind of feel. I don't matter what kind of year you have. Over the years, that last game, it's going to kind of be that the taste in your mouth ends up being a little better. You know, now we've got a tough team and they're fighting for bowl eligibility. And they play, you want to look at their schedule. They've lost a ton of close games. When they lose their games, they lose close. And so we've been successful at home the last 2 years, but this is a very good team. And we both have a lot to play for, but we as we build this game, to me, they're all meaningful games because of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And I said last week that I think we are very competitive with everybody in our conference. We just right now we're not looking at that chance to be bowl eligible anymore. Seniors' last game, many of them they'll ever play. Last game of the season. It's going to be one that's I hope we play well, because it's going to be important to us because it's that last one in the seniors' last game.
Thank you. We'll go over to Shawn. Shawn, please go ahead.
Coach, you and Coach Hall of Southern Miss are 2 of the only coaches right now that wear ties when you coach the games.
He's copying me. He's short like I am. And he's got that cherub face like I do. I'm an old man now. You know, I'm glad he does. I do it because that's the way I started my career 40 years. I mean, I'm 66. When I went to Auburn in 83, I wore a tie every game. And so did the coach before me and the coach before that. I got away from it. But, you know, when I got back into coaching after 15 years as head coach, I took 10 years in broadcasting. And I came back, and when I came to ULM, I said, this is my last stop. I'm not really, and I want to see if I can help build this program. And I want to go out and I don't know if it's nostalgic or just what I just felt what I wanted to do. You know, when you're my age, you can dress about however you want to dress. But it was right. But old Will's the son of a football coach too, and he's got some respect for this game, and I think it adds to him too. You know, Will. We had a family football camp for the Bowden Quarterback Receiver Academy for about 20 years. Everybody from Peyton Manning, they all came through there. Every quarterback in the South through the 90s, 80s and 90s came through there. And Will was about a 10-year veteran of that camp when he was about 3 feet tall. And then he got taller than me. And now he's taller than me, but he got to be part of our family, a lot of our family camp. But I always knew he was going to be an outstanding coach. His daddy used to come and watch every practice. when he would practice at our football camp. And so I just kind of, I coached against him when he was at West Alabama. When I got back in the business, he took over at West Alabama and coached against him there. So, yeah, I'm wearing it because this is my last hurrah. I don't want to coach anywhere else after this one. And I want to kind of go out like I came in. I'm glad he's holding on to a little bit of that Southern tradition.
Yeah, first, happy Thanksgiving to everybody at the Sun Belt Conference and all the coaches. I won't get to see you guys until after Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Again, appreciate all you guys do covering Marshall and Marshall Athletics and the football program. Really excited about this week. Really special week for us here at Marshall. Thanksgiving weekend. Obviously, most of our students are out of school, so an opportunity for our football family to spend a lot of time together and really be thankful for our opportunity and the things that we've been able to accomplish, lessons we've learned, things we've been through as a family this season. And obviously, senior day coming up. Got a really good group of guys who have been here a really long time and have done a lot of good for this program and this community. So a chance to get to honor those guys on Saturday with how we play and how we finish out our season. So really looking forward to the contest. Coach Elliott and his staff, a lot of respect for how they play and the things that they do. He's an old O-line coach. I'm an old O-line coach and player. So we see things the real way, as most people would say is the opposite way. But a lot of respect for what they do. They've got some really good players. It's going to be a challenge for us. On both sides of the ball. So we're gonna have to play really well, have a really good week of preparation, and go out and execute on Saturday.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Justin Zimmer. Justin.
Hi, Coach. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, buddy.
Hey, Coach. Last game you had Rasheen Ali back and you had Kalen Laburn back. How'd you think it went? Having both running backs for the first time on the field together in the game scenario.
Yeah, I thought it went well. Obviously, Rasheen's been out for some time, so getting back into the flow of things for him was good. I think, again, it gives us another option on offense. When you have your best players, you have a tendency, the offense tends to work a little bit better. So getting him back was good. And LeBourne, being able to kind of split the reps with those two guys, obviously that was the plan from the beginning. Things got altered and we had to make some adjustments, but it allowed both of them to stay fresh, and it gave us kind of a 1-2 punch in the running game, which allowed our pass game to kind of play off of that. So looking forward to both of them continuing to improve, as well as everybody else on our offense.
All right, thank you, Justin. We'll go over to Luke.
You mentioned the 1-2 punch, but how about a 1-2-3 punch with what Kane's able to do? As a running backs coach, formerly, that kind of get a little wide-eyed when you look at the weapons you have on that side of the ball now?
Well, again, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. Obviously, we're at that point in the season where, there's not a lot of variance, right? You are who you are. Your tendencies are your tendencies. You do what you do well. I think both of those guys, Cam and Rasheen, are continuing to improve. I think we've seen Cam's growth over the last couple of weeks, really since the beginning of the season. We've seen his growth not only as a quarterback managing the offense, but as a player. He's running with more confidence. He's throwing with more confidence. He's able to give you more feedback on the sideline. Obviously, giving him other weapons to take some of the focus off of him is going to help our offense, which allows more players to be more effective in what they're able to do. And I think, again, it's not as fast as everyone may like it, but it's where we are as a football team. We're getting better. And we still got one more week, an opportunity to do that. So looking for a lot of improvement this week from everybody.
Yeah. Sorry again for jumping on from one thing to the next. Certainly pleased with the outcome of the game this past week against Southern Miss. Certainly not our best effort as a football team. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought there was a lot of we played pretty poorly in terms of early ball security, did not take care of the football very well, had a botched fake punt situation that never should have happened based off the look that we got. And so we kind of put ourselves in a bad situation early. I thought we did a good job of regaining the momentum in the second quarter. And to be honest with you, what is really great about this team, and I'm probably most excited about, is there's just an expectation that we're going to get the job done. And even though we knew we weren't playing particularly well in any phase, there was a mentality on our sideline and a maturity from our team that we were going to find a way to execute when we needed to. And so very proud of that. But certainly some things that we need to get cleaned up moving into the last week here of the regular season against Old Dominion.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Hunter Dawkins. Hunter.
Coach, apology for not seeing you after the game on Saturday, but I knew that I'd see you here grabbing you a few questions. The first question, would be, what did this mean to you? I know you don't like to focus on yourself very much, and you'd rather focus on your team, and obviously they're having a great year. But you yourself as a USM alum, what does this mean to you personally? And then I'll ask you follow-up.
Well, I appreciate that you acknowledge some humility in me. I think my wife would say quite the opposite in terms of acknowledging myself. But I think for our team to continue to show that we can execute on the road is really exciting. I was here in this program before where that was a challenge, right, to be consistent in our operation on the road, and here we are at the end of the season, 5-1 on the road, and frankly, even our loss against UCLA, I thought we did some really good things and played well for the majority of that game. So looking at some of those things, there was a minute before the game and kind of the pregame that Melissa and I got a chance. We're both alums of Southern Miss, and she was actually the student body president at Southern Miss during our time there. And so, go back to a place that haven't been on that field for a game since my senior night. That was a really neat thing to be able to do. But then obviously the game goes and you're ready to go as the head coach and get your team ready to play. And so I thought for us, it was really great to be able to see just the consistency that we're able to execute when we're not at home.
Talking about your team now, Coach, I'm not exactly 100% clear of this, but from what I've looked, this is y'all's first opportunity to ever win 10 games for the team this year. And what motivating factor does that have, not only with your players, but with you yourself and trying to build this program through recruits and everything else? Thank you, by the way.
Well, yeah, I think, you look at this team and this program, and we've had some great moments in our short history for sure. But the overall on-field success in terms of record is exciting to see where we're headed. 7 wins is that's more than what we've ever had in program history. And so to kind of be able to talk about that with our guys every week, they're making history. And so to go from 7 to 8 to 9, now an opportunity to go to 10, that's really special. And that's something that, when you think about this week being our senior day, for these seniors to set a new standard, right, for this university and this football program, that they're going to be able to come back for years to come and be able to say that they helped reestablish the trajectory of South Alabama football is something really special and something we don't take lightly. So love the opportunities that we're creating for ourselves. But I think our consistency in our process is the reason why we're here to this point. And so we want to really stay focused on those things as opposed to just the outcome itself.
We got time for one more from Sam.
Hey, Coach, what about your process in year 2 here at South Alabama has enabled you and your team to transition from a 4-win team when you took over to being a win away from bowl eligibility last year to now going into the final week of the season, having a shot at the Sun Belt Championship game?
Yeah, I think I think that we have been mindful of the overall needs of our team. You get in year 1 and you think that you've got an idea of what you need to do schematically, recruiting wise, building depth in your team, the overall culture of how we do things, and the accountability that it takes to do those things over and over again at a high level. And so, here, we're in a position where we were 5-7, competitive against some of the best teams in our league. Louisiana, we miss a field goal with 40 seconds left, lose 18-20. We, overtime against Coastal Carolina. So you see those things and recognize we're on the right track. But then what are the things that we need to do overall as a program to get ourselves to where we're competing and executing at a high level? Some of that's scheme, some of that's talent, some of that's, just the consistency of building our culture. But I would say the biggest thing is building an expectation within this program that when adversity hits and things get tight, we expect to find a way to win. And I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of, at the end of year 2, that there's an expectation in this program when games get tight that we're going to find a way to get the job done.